What if we told you that one of Africa's smallest nations managed to accomplish what some of the world's most developed economies struggle with? Burkina Faso, under the remarkable leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré, has wiped out a colossal $4.79 billion in national debt without taking a cent of Western aid. Yes, you heard that right. No loans, no strings, and no compromises. For years, many thought financial independence for African nations was a distant dream. Yet Traoré didn't just imagine it. He made it a reality. The question is, how did he do it? What strategies did he employ to turn a country often overshadowed by its wealthier neighbors into a beacon of self-reliance? This is not just Burkina Faso's story. It's Africa's story. Ibrahim Traoré is not your typical leader. While many leaders are content with maintaining the status quo, Traoré thrives on challenging it. When he assumed office, Burkina Faso was in dire straits. Decades of economic mismanagement had left the nation drowning in debt, with its resources exploited and its sovereignty compromised. The people were disillusioned, and hope was a scarce commodity. For most, the logical solution would have been to seek more loans from international institutions or foreign powers. After all, this has been the traditional route for nations in similar predicaments. But Traoré took a different approach, a bolder one. He believed that Burkina Faso had everything it needed to stand on its own. The key was unlocking its potential and rallying the people to believe in a shared vision of self-reliance. Traoré's approach wasn't just revolutionary, it was risky. By rejecting the safety net of foreign aid, he opened Burkina Faso to significant economic challenges. But he also set the stage for a remarkable transformation, one that would not only pay off the nation's debt, but also reshape its future. This audacity to challenge deeply entrenched systems is what makes Traoré's story so compelling. But to truly appreciate the magnitude of his achievement, we need to delve into the specifics of Burkina Faso's transformation. When Traoré took the reins of Burkina Faso, the numbers painted a bleak picture. The nation owed $4.79 billion, an astronomical figure for a country with limited economic infrastructure. But Traoré saw these numbers not as insurmountable obstacles, but with the right strategy.
L'armée ira où elle doit aller pour sécuriser nos richesses, puisque c'est de ça qu'il s'agit. Nous sommes victimes de nos richesses. Ces richesses que les impérialistes veulent, coûte que coûte, reprendre en main et nous maintenir dans notre esclavage. Nous allons les sécuriser, parce que le Burkina Faso n'abandonnera jamais. Le Burkina Faso n'abdiquera jamais. Le Burkina Faso va combattre. Nous sommes un peuple fier, combattant, guerrier et digne. Et nous continuerons dans ce sens. Tous ceux qui rêvent de voir le Burkina Faso à genoux pour espérer nous ramener dans l'esclavage doivent comprendre qu'ils ont échoué. Parce que ceux qui ont risqué leur vie hier nous ont instruits de continuer le combat jusqu'à notre liberté totale et notre indépendance. Que Dieu fasse en sorte que l'année 2025 soit l'année de notre victoire finale sur l'ennemi. Merci à tous. La patrie ou la mort, nous vaincrons.
One of his first steps was to identify where the nation's wealth was leaking. Burkina Faso is rich in natural resources, particularly gold, yet little of this wealth remains within its borders. For years, foreign corporations dominated the mining sector, extracting vast riches while paying minimal taxes or royalties. Traoré's administration took a hard stance against these exploitative practices, renegotiating contracts to ensure a fairer share of profits for Burkina Faso. He also cracked down on illegal mining operations, which had siphoned off millions of dollars in revenue. We will talk about all the strategies later in the video as well. But financial reform wasn't limited to resource management. Traoré's government also prioritized fiscal discipline. Wasteful spending was curbed, and government resources were redirected toward critical areas like debt repayment and infrastructure development. This wasn't about austerity. It was about ensuring that every dollar spent had a purpose. What made Traoré's approach truly transformative, however, was his ability to engage the people. Instead of presenting debt repayment as a government task, he framed it as a national mission. This sense of shared responsibility became a driving force behind Burkina Faso's financial turnaround. But the question remained, why was paying off the debt so important? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Debt for nations like Burkina Faso is more than just numbers on a balance sheet. It is a mechanism of control. For decades, Burkina Faso, like many African nations, was ensnared in the web of dependency spun by international financial institutions. These loans often came with a catch: structural adjustment programs that dictated how a country could spend its money, prioritize its industries, and even manage its resources. The conditions were designed not to empower but to ensure repayment, creating a system where foreign interests were prioritized over local needs. Take, for instance, the agricultural sector, a lifeline for much of Burkina Faso's population. Structural adjustment programs often demanded the liberalization of markets, which meant slashing subsidies for local farmers to make way for foreign agricultural products. While this might have made Burkina Faso's markets more competitive in theory, in practice, it flooded the local economy with cheap imports, devastating domestic production. Farmers struggled to sell their crops, food security declined, and the nation became increasingly dependent on external sources for its survival. This wasn't just an economic issue, it was a loss of sovereignty. Traoré understood this dynamic well. To him, debt wasn't merely a financial burden, it was a symbol of external domination. Every dollar owed to foreign creditors represented another dollar that couldn't be invested in building schools, hospitals, or infrastructure. Worse, every policy dictated by creditors eroded Burkina Faso's ability to govern itself. This loss of autonomy wasn't just abstract, it had very real consequences for the lives of ordinary people. For Traoré, paying off the debt wasn't just about balancing budgets. It was about breaking free from a system that had kept Burkina Faso and other African nations locked in cycles of poverty and dependence. This was as much a political act as it was an economic one. By eliminating the debt, Burkina Faso could finally make decisions that prioritized the needs of its citizens rather than meeting the expectations of foreign institutions. Moreover, the psychological impact of debt cannot be understated. For years, debt had been a source of national shame. It perpetuated the narrative that Burkina Faso, and by extension Africa, could not succeed without the intervention of wealthier, more developed nations. By erasing this debt, Traoré restored not just economic sovereignty, but also national pride. It sent a powerful message to the world. Burkina Faso was no longer a nation begging for help. It was a nation standing tall, ready to determine its destiny. This act of financial liberation also opened the door for broader reforms. With the debt gone, Burkina Faso could redirect resources toward domestic priorities. It could invest in education, ensuring that future generations have the tools to innovate and lead. It could improve healthcare, extending the reach of critical services to underserved regions. It could build infrastructure, connect communities, and enable commerce. In short, paying off the debt was a means to an end, the end of external control and the beginning of self-determination. But perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Traoré's decision was its implications for Africa as a whole. In a continent where many nations face similar challenges, Burkina Faso's success became a symbol of what's possible. It challenged the narrative that debt is an inescapable reality for developing nations. It inspired other leaders to consider bold alternatives to dependency, proving that financial freedom is a tangible goal, achievable with the right vision and leadership. But what magic did Traoré do to pay off this debt? Paying off $4.79 billion in national debt without Western aid was no small feat, and Ibrahim Traoré's approach was both strategic and revolutionary. His success lay in a combination of leveraging Burkina Faso's natural resources, implementing disciplined economic policies, diversifying income streams, and fostering a sense of unity among his people. Every step was carefully crafted to achieve the ultimate goal of financial independence while ensuring the country could sustain itself long-term. Burkina Faso's gold reserves were central to Traoré's strategy. As one of Africa's top gold producers, the country had immense untapped potential in its mining sector. However, foreign corporations had long dominated the industry, extracting vast amounts of wealth, while leaving Burkina Faso with minimal benefits. To reclaim this wealth, Traoré renegotiated existing contracts with foreign mining companies. His administration demanded a greater share of profits for the state, arguing that the current agreements were exploitative and unfairly benefited multinational corporations. Traoré made it clear that if these companies wanted to continue operating in Burkina Faso, they needed to respect its sovereignty. His strong stance was backed by public support, which gave his administration leverage during negotiations. Illegal mining, which had flourished due to weak enforcement, was also addressed. Traoré implemented measures to formalize these operations, requiring miners to register and pay taxes. This crackdown not only brought in additional revenue, but also improved working conditions and reduced environmental damage caused by unregulated activities.
We are 100 meters underground in the tunnels of the Bagassi gold mine, one of 8 in Burkina Faso, and operated by Canadian company Rox Gold. Its goal is to mine 3 tons of gold every year for 10 years,